Really good. Why don't they do the circle?
What's up, everybody? My name is Jesse, and welcome to another episode of the Jess Takes a Village podcast, where we focus on regular people who have used their education, whether it be formal, vocational, or even life experiences, to propel their lives in a positive direction. Now, as you guys are probably watching this video and you're looking at the date and the time, a lot of you will probably still be at work, but not us. We don't work during midwinter recess because we are teachers. But ladies and gentlemen, to my left, also known as your right, we have one of the most meticulous, studious, dubious, and every other word that ends in IOUS. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Kevin O'Donnell to the platform. Clap it up for yourself. So, obviously, you guys don't know Kevin. We know Kevin. And when I say we, I'm referring to all the teachers that we work with, all the good people that we've come across in life. Kevin is what you call just a good, straightforward person. There aren't too many Kevins left in the world, except for the one Kevin from Home Alone, but here we are today. So I know you traveled all the way from the other side of New York just to come on a platform and share your story. So to start off, how you feeling today? Let's start off with a general mental health check on the mood meter. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Okay.
In the middle of the vacation,
Okay.
spending a lot of time with the kids, and yeah, it's been really nice.
That's good. So obviously, you've been supporting the platform from since we started. And I know you've always said, you know what, I would love a chance just to come on the platform and just share what you have exactly going on in your life. But part of sharing about what's happening in your life, we kind of want to go back a
Mhm.
little bit. So take me as far back as you remember as a little kid living in Brooklyn. What were some things you were just into on like a day-to-day basis?
I mean, as a kid, I was into a lot of sports.
Mm-hmm.
I played a lot of soccer at Marine Park.
Okay.
As I got older, I went to Xavier High School
Oh, yeah?
in Manhattan. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I ran track there.
Was you
Tried to
like a student athlete?
yeah, I tried. It wasn't always the best. Obviously,
Yeah.
I wasn't a AAA athlete, but tried my hand at football in
Okay.
freshman year.
What
Uh,
position were you playing?
Wide receiver, but I was 5'2" in freshman year, and if you know anything about football, obviously you need to be taller than 5'2" to play.
Short king struggles. So when did you get like the growth spurt? Because you have some height on you now.
Yeah, I'm about 5'9", I guess now.
Okay.
Actually, between freshman year and sophomore year, I feel like I jumped up a few inches, so I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, getting up there, maybe 5'6". So.
So I know you've always referenced the fact that, your dad was an MTA worker
Mhm.
and your mom was more so like the corporate side of America. I think Wall Street.
She's in Morgan
Yeah,
Stanley.
she's Morgan Stanley. So with that upbringing, what kind of work ethic did your parents present to you at an early age?
Oh, like the highest. There was no excuse for staying home on
Yeah.
a break like when we
Yeah.
were younger,
We're doing. Yeah.
like what we're doing right now. So like over the summer, it's like you got to get a job. And at the time, you're 16 and you think like, oh, come on, what are they bothering me for? Like, why
Yeah.
can't I just hang out? Why
Hmm.
can't I just have fun? But not only was it something to keep me busy, but it was also something to teach me that like you can't stay idle.
Can't.
You can't just sit back and just hang out and let 2.5 months go by. So for a long time, they always made sure I was always like a camp counselor. I was after school worker,
Yeah, I
like
came
after
from the
school.
after school world too. It's a funny phenomenon because a lot of the times people are under the assumption that, well, if you don't look like someone or you don't have the same upbringing as someone, that the struggles or the same kind of like mental battles won't happen. And here we are. You're from one side of Brooklyn. I'm from the complete other side, but our parents are telling us the exact same things. They're saying, hey, you are not allowed to be lazy. And I feel like a lot of the times when we hear these things as children, when we make the transition into adulthood, now we have that on us. We cannot be lazy. But then when we see in our friends, it's like your parents didn't tell you this. And this is kind of like why you are the way you are in adulthood. So you're in high school. Now, obviously, we know you to be the teacher now. Was teaching a goal for you? as you were leaving high school and entering college? Are you saying, hey, you know what? I want to be a teacher for the public school system?
No, actually, I wanted to be a writer.
Yeah.
The first thing I wanted to be was a writer. I loved to write in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was always part of like the school always had like some kind of like paper where you could write short stories,
Absolutely.
poems. So I was
Yeah.
always into that, even before that. And then when I was going to go into college, my parents said, listen, you have to be really, really good. You have to be like a top 1% of a writer to make it, as a career.
Absolutely.
Maybe you should do something else, and then you could always write on the side. And at the time, again, you're 17, you know everything, right? So it's like, why are my parents, killing my dream? And it's like, oh, I guess I'll have to figure something else out. But like I said, I like to do after school. I like to do summer school. I really liked
Right.
working with kids. So I was like, you know what? Let me see about elementary education.
Absolutely.
So, and the funny part is, if I could like stay on that for a minute,
Yeah.
in hindsight now, I know we're going to get into it in a minute, but I talked to my parents recently about the book and
Yeah.
how I always think about how they said that exact thing. You can always write on the side,
Right.
do what you love as a passion, but you need steady income to provide for your family when you have one. And I just always thank them for that, because without them telling me that, kind of like what you said, with those friends that their parents never told
Absolutely.
them, I might have been right now a struggling writer. I might have been someone who doesn't have what I do have now, and I'm very lucky.
Absolutely. Because I was telling a friend the other day, I said, many, many years ago, it was a norm to have good parents. Now in our era, it's a luxury to have good parents. That
Yeah.
timeless and priceless advice that they give you, it's really supposed to transition into the next generation.
Mhm.
So it's like, even as a grown man like yourself, for you to actually go back and reference and say, you know what? I'm very thankful that my parents told me that. I knew everything at 17. I just didn't understand that. And now in adulthood, you're like, this is what they were preparing me for. So writing is still in your heart, right?
Yeah.
But teaching now becomes the day to day, right? I've been with you in a classroom before, even as a substitute. I've been with you as a higher teacher. I know the kids have a special affinity for Mr. McDonald, you know? What's that like when you walk in the door and you have 23 to 24 kids just waiting to see you? What's that feeling like for you?
The day to day is well, it's in some ways it is the day to day, and in other
Yeah,
ways it's a lot of like, when you stop and reflect, you are in charge of this group of kids that are going to grow up, and then they're going to take those values with them, hopefully.
absolutely.
And I do hope that something that I say, some things resonate, and that maybe they don't remember every math lesson or every ELA lesson or social studies lesson we did, but maybe they remembered something I taught them about how to be, how to function in society, or be just better people in
Absolutely.
any way they can be.
And I know you're not just talking to talk because there was one day, and I always like cemented this in my memory. One day we were going, we left work. I think it was a Monday after the extended PD, and we were walking to the train station, just talking, and a random kid just walks up to you, "Hey, Mr. O'Donnell," and you're like, "Oh, what's up, man?" And then I was standing off at the side. You guys were having a brief conversation, and I overheard him saying, "Hey, I wasn't really the best student, but this is what I'm doing with my life. I have
Yeah.
a luxury car service." And I remember, he went about his business and we crossed the street, and you looked at me and you go, "I love that. Those are the things that I love." And I'm just like, that level of impact years down the line, all of that just adds on to the person that you are. So you have this impact on students. You have a good impact and a good rapport with your coworkers. But that passion for writing, where is it? Is it still in your heart? Are you kicking it to the side? Are you neglecting it? Or are you like constantly just adding on to it? What are you doing?
Oh, right now, I'm constantly adding on to it. I have a novel out now.
Absolutely.
It's called The Vital Link, and it's a sci-fi novel. So it's right now on Amazon, and other links too. Actually, I was able to go
Absolutely.
live, but yeah, I mean, for a long time I was writing. I just started out with a story. The funny part is that this novel isn't even where I originally started. Where original
Oh,
the kernel of what started this whole, what I hope is a series and universe, is actually,
what will be a series?
yeah,
It will be. It
yes.
will be.
I do hope to keep writing.
Yeah.
Um, that actually is going to be more of in like the third book.
Okay.
So this book kind of, was I broke away from that, and I started kind of just writing something about, like, just a machine that doesn't really understand where it's coming from, and it's
Absolutely.
running from something it doesn't understand what it is, and it has these memories of being human or something like that, and it just kind of goes through that journey trying to follow what it means to be uh what it means to be a machine. This is obviously a futuristic book,
Absolutely.
and it's also post-apocalyptic. I like that survival kind of,
Absolutely.
like, how would people be if the world ended? What would they function like?
Yeah.
So I do
What's
try
the
to.
mindset like? Absolutely.
Yeah, so I wrote that now. I actually I'm writing my second one now. I just wrote the ending the other day. I have a lot more to add to it, but my hope is to get to the second one by the end of this year.
And isn't that something so special, because it's like something that you put off to the side
Yeah.
is still very much a vital important, it's a vital piece of your life. This is like, this is your passion. And I always say you understand life a little bit better when your purpose aligns with your passion. Yes, you love the students, and yes, you go to work, but when you're at home and you're not Mr. O'Donnell and you're by yourself with the computer, this is what you're working on.
Hmm.
This is what makes you feel like this is, no pun intended, this is your vital link. You get to sit there and you get to
Yeah.
say, you know what, this is what I'm gonna use my time for. I've learned from like the older people in my neighborhood, the best currency you can have in life is time, right? How you spend your time dictates a lot of what's going to happen in the future.
Hmm.
If you work hard now, your future will always thank you later. And it's like, look what you were able to produce, just in the time that you were
Yeah.
given. Because guys, he's also not just a teacher, he's also a husband, he's also a father, he's a dog dad too,
Yeah.
So it's like, look at what you've done with your time. And I really hope, that you're proud of yourself and the hard work that you've put in just to produce this, because this was something in here.
Hmm.
Now look at it. You manifested this into like a tangible object.
Yeah.
And I always tell you, you need to give yourself a lot more credit. Very seldom in life do people get to accomplish their dreams, actually watch it unfold. And hold this,
Hmm.
like, this is yours.
Yeah.
This is a product of all your hard work. So if no one doesn't tell you, I will tell you, I'm extremely proud of you.
Thank you.
Extremely proud of you. Like, you're an author, like, wow. And I obviously wanted you here because it's like, this is like a living testament that if you really put your mind to something, you can do it.
Hmm.
So obviously, the book is in a post-apocalyptic world, and you've mentioned how you want to see how people are able to function when they don't have the same accesses and amenities to certain things.
Right.
Now, do you, hypothetically, do you ever see the world going towards that?
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah, but
I hope not. I mean, anything's
yeah.
possible,
Hmm.
depending on, someone just has to hit the wrong switch, the
Jeez.
wrong button, and,
Vote
we
for
could.
the wrong guy. But
Who knows? Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if I could go back a minute too,
Yeah.
speaking of being proud, you know, part of the whole being a husband, a father, and
Right.
a son, even too, my wife has always been very instrumental in helping me accomplish this,
Absolutely.
because this takes a lot of time
It
and it takes a
does.
lot of money, right?
Absolutely.
And an inexpensive hobby. And
Hmm.
every time I came to her, she said, go do it. I said, I wanted to do this. I want to publish. Okay, go do it. It's going to cost this amount for this editing, that, the cover. Also, thank you to my cousin Stephanie Campolo for the cover. She's
Thank you,
amazing too.
Steph.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Um, and then recently, I just got the audiobook produced, and I said it's going to cost this amount. It's not, and every time she said, "This is what you want to do. This is your passion. This is what you care about." And having a loving, caring wife is just invaluable.
It is very invaluable, but outside of the wife, it's the partnership,
Yeah.
it's the companionship. Is my partner believes in himself, I believe in him the same way, and I want him to be successful, because your success is only good for the family. It's not just for you.
Right.
You understand? And it
Yeah.
becomes a shared success. And then it's like, when I go to work, you serve as like an example and a role model. So if I'm sitting there and you go, hey, I got my own book. It's like, damn, like the bar is set high. Like, if this is what you did in your spare time, maybe I need to do something in my spare time, because teaching is what it is, but it's not the end all be all. You know, we still have lives. After we work from 8 to 2:20
Hmm.
and 8 to 4 on Mondays, it's like we have the rest of the day to deal with. And obviously, you have a wide slew of responsibilities that
Yeah.
I don't, but you were able to maximize your time. So, with you being an author, what would you say is some of the joys that come with writing for you personally? Like, what makes you just go,
Mm-hmm.
wow?
Usually it's when if I'm breaking through a really hard part of the story. You've heard of
Mm-hmm.
like writer's block, right?
Absolutely.
Writer's block really comes because you don't really know what you want to do next.
Mm-hmm.
Writer's block is like a wall, but
Mm-hmm.
for me, sometimes writer's block is like a fork in the road, and I have to figure out which direction I want to take this character, this section, right? And then once I've just picked a direction, I've learned over time, just pick a direction in the
Mm-hmm.
first draft, and you can always fix it later. And being able to go down the right fork in the road, quote unquote, and say, this was the right way to go, and now I've developed this character, and then someone can say to me now, I love this character because is a real joy to me because that character is now connecting with people.
Exactly.
You know,
And even like those books, or like when it becomes a live action movie, when there's that one character that you hate, that's how good you know the story was.
right?
Because it connects to you a different level emotionally. You know, and as you're writing and you break through the writer's block, how do you know when to end it? Because I feel like if your brain juices are just flowing and you're just into it, how do you know to end it and say, let me save space for book two?
Well, as you go through the story here, you'll see there are a
Mm,
couple of different storylines,
absolutely.
and I kind of think that they somewhat leave on cliffhangers,
Right.
and I just felt like that was a good way to end it and say, okay, these realizations have happened for this
Mm-hmm.
character, things have been learned, maybe people have come and gone, and this is a good place to stop to kind of give everyone a break, including me. But
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
also for the reader too. It's like, you kind of get that, wow, that just hopefully you
Yeah.
go, wow, that just happened. Oh, okay, I can't wait for book two. To just keep going on and on and on, I feel like doesn't have the same impact. It just feels like one thing after another, just page turning. So I
How did
try to cut it a
yeah, but
certain
how
point.
did you feel like completing the first book? What was that like for you?
Oh, that was that. Well, when I completed the first draft, I thought that was like 2 years ago. I completed the first draft, thinking then I was like, wow, I did it. And then I realized what editing is like, and I realized that it takes a lot of grammar checks and editing processes and hiring a professional. Like, there's a lot more to it. And then, but once I got here and once I put it into Amazon because it's self-publishing, once I did that, and
The link will be at the bottom in the bio, guys.
yeah, and once I saw that it was approved, I got on social media and I immediately said, "Hey guys, I don't know if you saw that
Instantly.
one."
I seen
I
it.
was like, "It's out, like it's up," because usually it'll take up to 72 hours. So I'm thinking, all right, I got 3 days. It shows up in 5 hours. So I was like, "Oh, I got to tell everyone about this.
Yeah,
This
you
is great.
do.
Everyone, get out and buy it if you can." So knowing that it's like a final, like you said, the paperback is such a finality to it.
Yeah.
So that's a product that now I can hold. That's how I
It's
know I'm done.
tangible
Yeah.
now. You know when listen, I have nothing against audiobooks. I have nothing against the digital books. But that sensation of turning pages will always be like great to me, you
Mhm.
know? Just knowing that once I turn a page something brand new is going to happen, you know? That's a me thing. So, my next question for you is what's like the marketing strategy behind getting the book out there to as many people as possible? Like you just made this final product.
Mhm.
You want to tell the world. How are you going about promoting your book?
Marketing is a whole other animal. So, that's why there are marketers and there are writers, and
Mm-hmm.
being self-publisher, you have to do both. But I've learned that that is just the beginning. The finished product is just the beginning.
It's just the
So
beginning.
I started out with Facebook ads, Amazon ads. I tried some Instagram ads, but they don't really land as well as I
Right.
would like. I did a recent one with another company that I'm able to pay for, and they
Mm-hmm.
kind of do like an email list, like, hey, here's some books out and things like that. I got a little bit of return, but honestly, the best thing is you
I
having the
appreciate that.
book,
Yeah.
and I mean that and it's
Yeah.
true. It's like you read it and you say this is a great book. Let me tell 5 people, and those
Absolutely.
people tell 5 people that this book was great. That's really the best way.
Absolutely.
Having the Amazon reviews is great too because that's like the credibility I need,
The
right?
creme de la
I mean,
creme. Yeah.
I could say my book is great. I think my book is great, but
Mm.
I need someone who isn't someone very close to me to say that.
Yeah, a
To just
non-biased opinion.
yeah, to just
Because I could
objectively
read the
say.
first 3 pages and I could be like, holy shit, this is amazing, you know. But that's just what it is, you know. Or you
Yeah.
could go on a podcast and promote the book, you know.
But yeah, like you obviously doing this is great.
Yeah,
But you just saying to someone that hey, this is a great book, check it out, is the best way to do it. Word of mouth.
absolutely.
So I hope that people will eventually start doing that.
I love that people are still into reading.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
too.
I love that people are still into writing because I feel like, you know, globally, when you look at other countries, you know, you have these great authors, these great publishers, just these great bodies of work. And I feel like a lot of writing here, especially in this generation, it's not getting the same love that it used to. I remember being a kid in school, you know, we read Holes, and I thought Holes was one of the greatest things I've ever read in
It's a good book.
elementary school. You know, you get older, you start appreciating, you know, the Shakespearean literature, you start appreciating biographies, memoirs, and you're just like, wow, you know, the amount of writing and dedication, even if you're in the music, you know, your favorite rapper or your favorite singer's song lyrics, these are the things that stand out, you know. And for you to take all of those words in your head and make it like one cohesive unit, this is great. So, you know, guys, listen, the link once again will be in the bio. They can go on Amazon,
Hmm.
they can get the book. If they want the audio book, it's on
It's also on Amazon as
everything is
well.
on Amazon. Click the link, guys, and support. Um, Now you have the book.
Hmm.
Do you ever in the future, because you know, I just want to be selfish and ask, do you ever see this becoming a movie?
Huh. I would love for it to become. Actually, I see it more if I had
Yeah.
my druthers. I would want it to be a TV show because I think
Ooh,
as a
a
series it
series. Yup.
continues and characters will come and go and
Absolutely.
develop. You know, I'm looking at it as the long game. So I
Absolutely.
would hope for a TV show.
Absolutely. You know, I always like, you know, we had a conversation in the hallway like some weeks ago, and I had told you, I'm like, you know what's so strange? When J.K. Rowling made Harry Potter, I don't even think she envisioned Daniel Radcliffe looking so much like Harry Potter, you know? Like when you see him now, it's just like, oh, look, it's Harry.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering in your head, do you see like an actor or from all like the celebrities, you know, that can actually fit like a role or somebody who just suits a character in your story like really well?
I don't know. I don't know if he's still doing it. What's the guy's name from Breaking Bad? The actor
Bryan Cranston?
Bryan Cranston. Thank you.
Yeah.
I envision kind of like one of the main characters, Craig, kind
Yeah.
of is a little modeled in a way after him, like inspiration
Absolutely.
from him. I could totally see him playing something like that. And I love Bryan Cranston. I think he's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Give us a call, Brian. But yeah,
We'll set something up.
yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah, I mean that would be amazing. But honestly, I don't know. You got to find the right actor and the right fit, right? It's not just the look; it's also about the substance and how they're able to
Absolutely.
do it. I mean, I would love to have someone like Leo DiCaprio in there, but I don't know where he would. I can't.
We'll find a
Do
spot for him.
yeah,
There's
well,
always a spot for Leo. But yeah, so now when you finish this and you show it to your parents, what's their reaction?
oh, they were incredibly proud. They were very proud, and I have a section in the acknowledgments.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, most of the front matter and the back matter,
Mm,
the acknowledgments, the
right.
dedication, the epigraph, all
Yeah.
that stuff. That's all kind of bypassed by most people, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how many times do you read the acknowledgments? Probably not, right? Not a lot. But I felt like I wanted to give acknowledgments to the people that really, made the book possible in one way or another. And the first people I talk about are my mom, my dad, and my wife. Um, because they, like I said, they really do. They're always in the back of my mind when I'm writing that, you know, get a steady job and have something that you love to do, but also have a passion on the side. And you can always do that. And their dedication and their hard work and their work ethic in general, just passively, your parents don't always have to tell you how to work. They could just show you,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So just them showing me how to work, and my dad would work, overnights. He'd work midnight to 8, drop me off at the bus, and then sleep. And he wouldn't see my mom, and she'd be coming home, and like they wouldn't see much of each other. And they just did that because they knew at the end of the day that's what they had to do for us as a
Absolutely.
family.
Exactly. You make that
So
sacrifice for the nuclear family.
And it's not easy. We take it for I took it for granted. I mean, I'm
Me
sure we all
too.
take it for
Me
granted.
too.
But,
Me
I want
too.
to say thank you, mom and dad, for all that.
Thanks, mom and dad. And I actually want to share the acknowledgments. You have to mom and dad, whose unconditional love and selflessness gave me the opportunities to succeed I would never have had otherwise. You provided me with the best education possible, from high school to college. You pushed me to be the best I could be at anything I tried, guided me in how to best approach any situation and do my best. And this novel is a result of your hard work as much as mine. I love you. So it really goes to show you that the sacrifice of the parents become the child's success. It does. It really does. That work that they put in, it's for us. And now with your own children, you probably appreciate it, 10 times more.
Hmm.
With Liam and every I always think cheeseburgers every time. And
Evelyn.
and Evelyn, absolutely, And I feel like this is a good example. Anything they put their mind to, they can do it. I mean, obviously, you have to work, because we live in New York City and things are
Yeah.
rough. But outside of the author, the father, the teacher, I know over the last, I would say, couple of years, you've been an advocate for, us teachers being in the building
Hmm.
as a union rep. What does advocating for your fellow coworkers, what does that mean to you?
That means, just making sure that everyone's rights are protected, and that, that doesn't always mean running in and having fights with administration.
Absolutely.
In fact, you hope most of the time it doesn't, because,
Absolutely.
everyone's on the same page. It's
Mm-hmm.
more about making people aware of what their rights are, or, are these my hours? Could even be a simple question, right? 8 to 2:20 or 8 to
Mm-hmm.
4 on Mondays. But it's really more about making sure people feel, protected. They feel like they have a stable work environment, and that they're able to come to me even about things that don't necessarily have to be contractual. They could be, I'm having this other issue, or, I like to try and just go walk around the building and just ask people how they're doing. Just, I
Absolutely.
feel like that's something that is part of my role, but also because I care.
Absolutely.
So I think it all kind of goes into one big package. It's not just, people think union leader, they're thinking that you're at the front of the pack running into the boss's office yelling and screaming about everything. It's not that,
Mm.
and I don't carry myself that way, and I do appreciate how the principal and I are able to work through
Absolutely.
situations and issues and try to come to an agreement to the best that we can.
Absolutely. And that serves, so obviously there will be kids or people from all over different parts of the world who don't understand what a union rep is. So basically, guys, when you're at a job and something happens to you, and there's a human resources group, as you know, there's also something called a union, right? And the purpose of the union is to protect the workers, is to make sure that their rights are being established and they're not being taken advantage of. So, me being a teacher, let's just say magically something strange happens to me at work. Instead of screaming and possibly losing my marbles and risking my job, I go and I find my union rep, or Kevin in this case.
Hmm.
I'll alert him of a situation. He'll give me possible solutions, remedies, and if it needs to go higher, a meeting will happen.
Hmm.
And then, whatever transpires after that.
Hmm.
But it's so good to have reps and things like this available,
Hmm. Yeah.
because I can only think of there are people who are at jobs and they don't have that kind of protection. They're literally out there to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's like with you being a rep, an author, a father, a son, when do you ever just get to be Kevin? Because it seems like you're doing so much on a day-to-day basis. Like when you
Yeah.
just get to sit down, unwind, sit on the couch, maybe crack open a beer and just watch the Jets game. Like when do you get to do that?
Well, speaking of Jets games, Ranger games, now my son is very into football and hockey, so we
Wow,
actually do watch together.
that's
There
good.
was a time when he was like, "Oh, come on, Dad, let me watch my cartoons."
Yeah,
But now he likes it. But I guess those times are probably best reserved for at night when the kids go to sleep, and my wife and I could just be, ourselves. We could just
absolutely.
kind of hang out on the couch, and those are sometimes the best times
And just
because
vibe out.
they're quiet, and then
Yeah.
they're, not quiet just with like the regular day, but
Mm-hmm.
just quiet like, we're just able to just sit and just relax.
Absolutely.
That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, but I mean,
It does happen once in a while, but it doesn't
and when
happen
it
often.
does happen, I'm pretty sure you appreciate it times 1,000.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we love
Because
it.
you don't know when this is gonna happen again. If it's not too much to ask, live, I don't know where you put the pen.
Yeah, I got
Or
it.
you have the pen. If you could just sign,
Oh, sure.
like a live on book signing for
Sure.
me.
Absolutely.
Because I know many, many moons to come from now. After you've done interview number 1,000 or you're traveling around the world, I always want there to be the point of reference that I interviewed you first. So I'm taking all the credit, you know. But you know, I really do appreciate you, you know, coming all the way out here from the other side of Long Island to Brooklyn to really, you know, share your successes with us, to really just share to the world, like, you know, what kind of person you are and how, you know, your parents' sacrifice really got you to, you know, where you're at today.
Yeah, I really couldn't do it without them. I couldn't do it without them in the past, and I couldn't do it without my wife in the present
Don't
because
also forget Louise too, the editor. Yeah,
Miss Hare, yes,
that's
Ms.
it.
Louise Hare, she was great too. She was able to give me a lot of great pointers, and my friends as well. I had two of my friends specifically really helped. Paul and Greg, they were great in giving me feedback. You know, they read the book when it was in its infant stages and
Oh
kind of gave
yeah?
me
Okay.
some ideas or some reflections. You know,
Absolutely.
but yeah, thank you so much. This is great.
What a journey.
And I mean, I hope that the journey continues. I hope this series is 5, 7, 8 books. I don't
And
know,
it
you
will
know, as
be, you
far
know,
as
you just gotta, you know, stick with it.
yeah,
Wow. And guys, also too, just we want to stress the importance of writing, of educating yourself always. You know, if Kevin could do it, you guys could definitely do it too. If you have an idea, you want to be an author, you want to write, don't be shy. Just get your work out there. You never know who's gonna see your work. You never know who's gonna respond to your work. But overall, just try your best to produce. You know, especially if you have the time to do so. And I think you know Kevin would agree on that too.
absolutely.
So you know, Kevin, I just want to tell you once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming on the platform. Thank you for the book signing. The book is gonna be worth $3 million one day. And this is also a first edition. So thank you. Add it to the collection. I appreciate
Yeah.
that a lot, man. Thank you so much. Man, you're golden. And I want you to know that every
Well,
time.
thank you.
So
Thank you.
if I probably won't see you at the end of the week, I'll most definitely see you on
All
Monday.
right, man.
So thank you for coming on the platform. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Patrick O'Donnell.
All right. My name is Kevin O'Donnell.